Now doctor, there are three important terms. Efficacy. What is the meaning of efficacy? The extent to which a treatment achieves its desirable beneficial effects is called as efficacy in ideal circumstances. For example, you take drug A and drug B. Self-preparation versus coaching. Ultimately, what rank you got? After taking coaching, you got a bigger rank instead of smaller rank. Then what is more efficient? To self-prepare. So, drug A versus drug B. Is it fine? Broadcast. Yeah. So, high efficacy, low efficacy are the important issues to be basically remembered. Ask him to not change anything. Yeah. Efficiency is the production of a desired effect with minimal waste of time or efforts or skill. Is basically, for example, you have to administer a drug. You require IV infusion set, etc., etc., a lot of things. Then it becomes, though it is a efficacious drug, the drug efficiency is not optimal. So that is a main difference. Effectiveness in a normal clinical environment, if you administer a drug, how beneficial it is, and the measure of success is basically called effectiveness. You may say, my new drug is highly bactericidal, my new drug is highly lipid soluble, but ultimately your new drug is able to decrease the incidence of a given disorder or not. That becomes effectiveness is what need to be remembered. Now, what is the ratio of lethal dose to that of therapeutic dose for a given animal is called as? Whenever you give any drug, doctor, the drug will have certain beneficial effects which are then called therapeutic effects. The drug will also have certain adverse effects. For example, you have given morphine. Morphine is a painkiller. Pain killing is the therapeutic effect. But morphine can also lead to development of respiratory depression. So you have plotted a graph of the dose of the drug to that of the effect it produced. So you got one graph where what percentage of the people have shown that effect for a given dosage. That is called the curve of therapeutic effects. Another graph which has plotted, which shows the percent of the people for a given drug dosage who have shown toxic effects like respiratory depression. So that particular dosage at which 50% of the people have shown the toxic effect is called as TD50. That percentage at which 50% of the people have shown the therapeutic effect is called ED50. Right? And the ratio between the two is basically called therapeutic index. If 50% of people have shown the therapeutic effects at a dosage of about 10 milligrams and 50% have shown at 20 milligrams the toxic effects, between 10 and 20 it is called margin of safety is what you have to ultimately remember. So summarize, doctor, the median lethal dose by median effective dose. LD50 by ED50 defines the therapeutic index, an important formula you need to remember. For any drug you take, for example, if you take a drug which lead to lowering of the BP. Lowering of the BP is supposed to be the therapeutic effect of say antihypertensive. But it has led to the development of, let us say, shock. It lowered the BP so much that it led to shock. Then that becomes toxic effect. So once more you have a TD50 and ED50. That is the same concept. So what indicates, what therapeutic index indicates? Basically the drug safety, not efficacy. What is the time taken for the drug administered to that of the pharmacological response it has shown is called as, it is called as the latent period. Some drugs will have a longer latent period. What is the classical example of a drug that shows a long latent period? Classical drug. Steroids. You give steroids today, your grandson should be born before it shows the effect. That is a small critique about him. I mean, they take a long time. They take 4 or 5 days before the effect appear. That's the reason you have taken a prednisolone tablet and immediately expect the effect now only means it won't happen. Why? Steroid should go to the cell membrane. It has to cross cell membrane. It has reached the nucleus. It has to show its effect on the nuclear DNA. Then only when DNA once more replicates, then the effects of steroid will be shown. Hence the lag period and latency of the steroid is longer, is what need to be basically remembered. Now comes an important question. What is the phenomena where rapid tolerance to the effects of a drug whenever you give the drug in quick succession is basically called? It's called as tachyphylaxis, is what need to be remembered. If you are repeatedly giving the drug, if you repeatedly give the drug, ghar ka murgi dal barabar. The chicken in the home is equal to the pappu in the home, dal in the home. So the efficiency of the drug will fall down. So that is basically called tachyphylaxis. Right, doctor? So it is a rapid development of tolerance. Now let us see. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. You had been successively administering the epinephrine. The same thing you have done with another drug called ephedrine. The ephedrine's effect over a period of time keep vanishing when you are repeatedly administering. Right? So that is an example of rapid development of tolerance, which is then called tachyphylaxis, is what need to be remembered. Then what is meant by tolerance? Whenever a drug fails to produce that particular response which is supposed to produce. For example, a BP tablet is supposed to bring down the systolic BP from 170 to 140, 120 for example. So, though you took the BP tablet, if the BP is remaining at 160, 150 instead of reaching 120, then that is an example of tolerance. If this tolerance develops acutely within 3 to 4 days after usage, then it is called tachyphylaxis, is what need to be remembered. Now, allergic reactions depend on what important factor? Previous exposure to the drug. Why? Previous exposure to the drug will sensitize our immune system. First exposure. Then our immune system develops a immunological memory. That immunological memory will mount a rapid immune response second time you take the drug once more. Right? So, previous exposure. The pharmacological action of the drug. Suppose if a drug is going to make inflammatory cells to release all inflammatory mediators, if the drug's property is that, voice is not clear?
They are not hearing.
They are not hearing. Check that. Huh? Is it clear? Okay. Alright. So, pharmacological action of the drug. Then similarly, the antigen antibody reaction that it will be generating. Every drug is an antigen in itself. It will typically initiate a immunological sensitization and initiate antibodies against the drug itself. For example, methyl dopa is a classical drug. Methyl dopa is an antihypertensive drug. But methyl dopa will induce our immune system to produce the antibodies against the methyl dopa. But unfortunately, those anti-methyl dopa antibodies will go and injure the RBCs, red blood cells, and lead to hemolytic anemia. So, if you took methyl dopa, you are developing hemolytic anemia. What is the cause for that? Methyl dopa led to anti-methyl dopa antibodies. Anti-methyl dopa antibodies have an anti-RBC action, and anti-RBC action has led to hemolysis. So, these are all the deciding factors of the adverse drug reactions. Now, doctor, a very favorite question of the examiner. What are the various forms of adverse drug reactions? Type A are called augmented type of adverse drug reactions. They are predictable, they are dose dependent. And what is called augmented? Normally, what is the role of insulin? It makes hyperglycemia to normalize to normal glycemic state by bringing down the serum glucose levels. If that is produced excessively, what will happen? The person will go into hypoglycemia. So hypoglycemia is the extension of the normal anti-glycemic effect of insulin. Alpha blocker. Where are alpha 1 receptors? They are there on our blood vessels. Alpha 1 receptor stimulation will lead to vasoconstriction. Vasoconstriction lead to hypertension. Hence we use a alpha 1 receptor blocker as a anti-vasoconstrictor, that is vasodilator, and bring down the BP. But when that happens, what is the side effect of that? Postural hypotension. Why? You are lying down, doctor. From lying down position, you suddenly came to a standing position. When you come to standing position, what will happen? All your venous return get pulled in the periphery. The venous return to heart will decrease. When the cardiac output, when venous return decreases, cardiac output decreases. When the cardiac output decreases, blood pressure diminishes. When the blood pressure diminishes, our carotid receptor sense that the BP is diminishing. Then they tell alpha 1 receptors, hey, alpha 1 receptors, what is this? This guy is standing, the venous return is diminishing, cardiac output is diminishing, BP is falling down. All you guys constrict, it will tell to alpha 1 receptor. And alpha 1 receptors will make blood vessels constrict and our BP is maintained. It is not that we lie down, we maintain BP, we stand up, suddenly our BP, is it falling? What is preventing it from falling? When we stand, when the venous return diminishes to heart, when the cardiac output from the heart diminishes, when the BP diminishes, our carotid receptor sense it and lead to alpha 1 mediated vasoconstriction, which lead to development of the retention of the normal BP. But if you are giving to the guy a alpha blocker as an antihypertensive, when he suddenly gets up from a sitting into a standing position, will the vasoconstriction occur? It can't, because you are giving alpha blocker. So he will go into hypotension only when standing, not when lying down. Hence it is called postural hypotension, is a feature which is typical of alpha blockers. So it is an extension of its normal activity. Normal activity of the alpha blocker is to antagonize the alpha 1 mediated vasoconstriction. It is an extension of that. Dry mouth and dry eyes with atropine. What is atropine? Atropine is anticholinergic. When we are unhappy, why do we get tears? Our parasympathomimetic system बोल के एक system रहता. Parasympathomimetic system will produce acetylcholine. Our next topic is that only, autonomic nervous system pharmacology. When acetylcholine is secreted, it will make our lacrimal glands to produce tears. It is a secretomotor. It has a secretomotor action on the lacrimal glands that makes lacrimal glands to produce tears. So we are getting tears because of what? Not due to emotion that we lost our boyfriend or girlfriend. It is because our parasympathomimetic system has told acetylcholine to release and make secretomotor lacrimal glands to release the tears. Otherwise the world will not believe that we are emotional. Right? So next time, what will you do? If your fiancé is crying, you bring out a atropine tablet, put in the mouth, no tears. Atropine is anticholinergic. Next time you are not getting any tears even if your most beloved classmate failed in exam. No problem. take a little acetylcholine. Acetylcholine stimulates secretomotor fibers in lacrimal glands and that produces tears. So for you to remember, basically. Simple rule, doctor. Acetylcholine lead to all secretions in the body. Tears from the eyes, salivation from the mouth, sweating throughout the body. We all become watery if acetylcholine is produced. We become dry if anti-acetylcholine is there, like atropine. Dry mouth, dry eyes, dry body, no sweating is all anticholinergic. That's what you need to basically remember. So, what is that dry mouth of atropine? It's an extension of its anticholinergic activity. Hence, it is called augmented type of adverse drug reaction.